Hello, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be talking about three things in particular. Number one is going to be GeForce Experience Optimization. Number two is how it works. Number three is Ghost Recon Wildlands and what happens if you use GeForce optimized settings, and what settings you actually need to use to play this game in 4K, 60 plus FPS, all maxed out, with a little trick, which to be fair is not really a trick, it's a poor man's version of DLSS. Now, before we jump in, let's just touch base real quick here. So as you can see, when you go for GeForce Experience Optimize and what this function does, as you can see, basically what it does, they tap into their own cloud data center, where they keep all the information about what kind of rigs people are using, which you can see in GeForce Experience Center itself, and they kind of adjust the settings based on the spec. What is playable. Now when it comes to what is playable in GeForce or Nvidia's eyes is everything around 30 frames or higher, by giving you extra features. Now the problem with this, let's say we have Ghost Recon Wildlands, which I was really looking forward to test out with 3070 Ti. Going through the list, and this is supposed to be the easy way, you press optimize and it does it all for you and just play the way Nvidia just highlights the things they can, do or whatever. Like you can see these little hints like ambient occlusion, what it does, and all the goodies, like what for is actually even. So if we look here, the resolution it wants me to play is 4K based on my TV, because TV does report back to adapter that it's a 4K TV. And it wants me to scale the game in in resolution times 2, which basically means it's not 4K anymore, it's 8K. Now I'm gonna fast forward this clip to the next point where I'm gonna launch the game with these settings specifically, because honestly guys, it takes good 15 minutes to load in, and I'm gonna have MSI running. You guys gonna see what what will happen. It is just crazy, guys, honestly, seeing a game. So welcome back, and this is what you get with Nvidia's optimization. So before you freak out what the hell is going on, I'm gonna show you the graphical settings Nvidia figured out we need to do. So we go for video, and as you can see, it did apply resolution scaling twice. So instead of 4K, we're actually running about 8K. Even Ubisoft Disconnect is saying your system is running low on available RAM, because we're basically everything that the GPU is unable to store in its memory, it's trying to offload onto the system RAM. We only have 16 gigs of RAM to play around with. So what we actually have here is the perfect example. So I know you guys are seeing this in 2K. I really would like to do this in 4K, but the waiting time for game to load everything in and process, and the GPU to actually handle it is more than I can afford to wait. Also, as you can see, the GPU usage is 100%. We're pulling 8.1 gigs of video memory, and 3070 Ti does come with 8 gigs of video memory only. We are pulling 13, sometimes I do believe up to 15 gigs of actual system RAM, and it all sounds like very bad news. Now first off, it's not. Ghost Recon Wildlands surprisingly still is very demanding, or well, basically not really optimized game. Even 3080 Ti is unable to play this game in 4K 60 FPS plus. Doesn't matter what kind of CPU it's paired with. And in terms of this game itself, god damn it, this is not playable, guys. Look, we're literally, this is a slideshow, like we're running at like 4 frames now. So when it comes to Nvidia optimized feature, I would like you guys to understand that do not trust everything you see there. Check but verify, it's I cannot look at this without laughing. Look at the birds. You can literally see that the animation frames of this bird flight is just lagging behind. So how to fix this? Okay, so let's take a look at the game's performance in let's say native 4K rather than upscaled 8K to be fair at this point. So we're just gonna navigate with 5 frames, which it is harder than it looks. So you need to click all the way down to like number 1. Game is already very happy about it, so As you can see, so the 3070 is still not getting 60 frames, right? So we're 50-ish, and there's nothing really much going on. Hold up, I really hate that chopper. There we go, much better now. So, we are at 50-ish frames, and this is basically your 4K native. Everything, all the settings cranked up, so let's just double check that. As you can see, everything's on ultra. So, first and foremost, Wildlands and Breakpoint, despite its age, which is, well, Breakpoint is 2019, Wildlands being 2017, we do not have DLSS support for those games. Wildlands does not have any support, no Fidelity Cast, no DLSS support. Breakpoint has Fidelity Cast support. So if you are running an AMD card, you are absolutely good and golden. Now, the problem, however, for us comes that we need to get more than 50 frames. I'm not saying it's a must. The game looks fantastic in 4K. Even with 50 frames, it's pretty nice. It's not really sluggish. Nothing like Metro Exodus in 4K on 40 frames with a 1080 Ti, if you saw my video about the influencer rant. But we can definitely do better. So this is pretty much a poor man's version of DLSS. Which basically what we're gonna do, we're gonna go for the options and for the video, and we're gonna downscale manually the resolution of the game itself. There's a lot of tutorials out there what it does and how it boosts the performance. Basically, we are pushing down the resolution of the world itself, like the textures of whatever is around us, while still getting it displayed in 4K. So the problem with this is it looks, basically you will see this picture in 4K, but all the assets you are looking at is not exactly 4K. And in my opinion, this is a little bit of a problem, because if you just want to see this picture in 4K, it might be a worthwhile fix to quickly boost your FPS, but to be honest, you can easily do this even on 2K or Full HD if your GPU is not able to run this game maxed out, or you just want to crank something, because essentially we are doing only half of the job that DLSS does, which is the deep learning super sampling. Instead of just downscaling the resolution of the texture and then artificially upscaling it up for the actual 4K, we are just downscaling it and looking at it in 4K, if you follow the drift. So you're not getting the actual 4K upscale quality. So if you want to have actual performance of the game, I'm sorry, there's no other way. You need to drop down the resolution. That is the only way you're gonna actually get how the game looks, how it feels, and how it actually runs. So you're gonna keep the settings. There we go. Now we are in native 2K resolution with all the settings cranked, resolution 1:1, and now whatever you are seeing is actually gonna be the 2K ultra settings for you with these frames. So as you can see, the MSI actually did become a bit more, like, more pronounced, I would say, or change the scaling, because the scaling was adjusted for 4K. We're not in 4K anymore. So this is, I would say, the only actual thing, to be honest, that I kind of wanted to show you guys. Apart from that, I don't know, don't trust everything you see, because it's not really gonna work in your favor, give or take. So just one of those things. The game looks and runs fantastically in 2K, nevertheless, and for 3070 Ti, you know, it's still better. I was playing this game in 2K with a 1080 Ti, and it was fantastic. I did not really get constant 60, I do have to admit that. I was getting, I would say, 60-ish, and sometimes dips below, depends on the size of the base or whatnot. But this is playable. I wouldn't say that, you know, this is so terrible that there's no way around it and whatnot. So it is how it is sometimes, you know. You just have to kind of take it for what it is. So let's just put it back to the actual 4K. I know you guys are seeing this in 2K anyway, because as I explained in my previous videos, re-rendering and keeping everything in 4K is massive file size, and I'm not really ready for that. Also, you know, if I'm recording 4K gameplay, I kind of want native 4K, native 60 frames rather than downscaling and resolution. But, you know, for the sake of argument, we can clearly play around here a bit, as you can see. Basically, long story short, 3070 Ti still cannot play this game in 4K 60 frames. And I'm not really mad about it, it's just... the game could use DLSS. Like, literally, physically, it could use a DLSS support. That would definitely bring back a lot of people into this game, specifically with DLSS. You can easily play it in 4K above 60 frames, clearly. I'm not sure why Ubisoft is not willing to do it, because surprisingly enough, when they made the game, when they made the Ubisoft collaboration with Nvidia for Ghost Recon Wildlands, they asked Nvidia how they can actually do things to bring out the best performance, and Nvidia told them, so here's the code for ambient occlusion, HBO, here's the code for the turf effects and stuff like that. And you know, if they can take all this feedback on board and just make the game, I don't understand why they cannot just budge Nvidia a little bit and tell them, hey, you mind just you know, throw in some DLSS for us as well, so our player base that is sitting on Nvidia cards can actually, you know, be a bit more happier. But there must be a reason why this is not happening, so no, it's just one of those things. So yeah, one quick tip apart from this is when, let's say, you are centered in on a target, right? So I'm missing every shot, I don't really care, it's not about long range sniping videos what people are doing, and I know that, and you know, it's just one of those things. I think you need to understand this one cool feature. So let's say you are trained on an enemy, so as you can see. So by the way, also quick thing, as you can see, this tower, 698 meters, it's already out of spec. So you see all the buildings outside of this area, so roughly 700-ish meters, it's gonna start dropping it down so it doesn't take the video memory. I wanted to touch on this topic a very long time ago for the simple reason because people don't know, they think the game is broken. It's not. When this game released, the best GPU available was 970, which only comes with 4 gigs of video memory. Well, with a controversy of 3.5 plus 500 megs of very fast memory, like short-term storage or RAM for the GPU rather than actual video memory. So they had to cut corners a little bit so that GPU on Full HD can achieve 60 frames, which it easily can. But they kind of had to cut the corners in terms of rendering and the draw distance. Even if the draw distance is very, very far, as you can see, all those big buildings, they're kind of getting scaled down. Like, you look how terrible this ATC looks. We don't even see the SAM sites. You can't even shoot the guys over here, and I don't even see the guy over here unless that's the guy over there. I'm not sure. Anyway, that's about the terrible looking things. So one pro tip for those who actually play Wildlands, and probably you already know it. So if you have your sights trained on an enemy and you shoot and you miss, if you reload the gun, keep holding the aim button for the scope, it's gonna come back exactly where you left it without moving an inch. So usually what I was doing back in the day when I missed a shot, I kinda zoomed out and then I had to kind of find this target again. If you just take your shot and you run out of bullets or whatnot, keep holding the zoom button, which is the right mouse for me, and it's gonna go dot on the last position where the enemy is. Very handy thing if you are doing the long range sniping and you have a good spot and you know that the target is, let's say, hiding in one of these areas. You can just unload on them, you know, just literally just keep going for it. You reload and you just either suppress them or you draw them out, it's entirely up to you. But basically it's gonna keep you for not looking for that area in the distance, which house exactly it was, which tiny little tent it was again. You already trained on it. So overall, I must say, how this game runs in technical, well, downscaled version of 4K is fantastic. It looks good, however, again, these little tiny graphical artifacts that we see in the distance, like this, kinda kills the immersion. I'm thinking about applying some mods to this. I actually noticed that, if you remember Vasily, he was actually playing one of the kinda mod versions of an FPS or a first-person view. Well, FPV, I would say. And it looked very interesting. It kinda you don't have the third person anymore. You kinda just go from the first person, like in Skyrim, and all the weapon handling happens from the point of view of your character's eyes, basically. So you see all the weapons kinda like in a VR setting, give or take, without actually playing VR. So I might actually, you know, politely inquire to him how to achieve this and where he got this mod from. I do know there's quite a big modding community out there that is doing these things, but at the same time, you know, just for the sake of us saving some time eventually, which I'm not really, you know, strapped for time, end of the day. Apart from this, there's not really much to talk about. This was not even a rant about, you know, the things wrong with the game. It was more about the Geforce experience being very, very weird when it offers you optimization and you can just play around like that. So even now, as you can see, we are actually below 60 because there's a lot of moving things here. So if you want this the best out of both worlds, unless you really want to see this game in 4K, I would say drop your expectations a little tiny bit, or we just have to wait until the 4000 series come out, and in that case I do believe we will finally play this game in 4K plus 60 frames constant. This game kind of becomes the crisis of the world a little tiny bit, but hey, you know, it is how it is. Anyway, this is all I wanted to really show and tell you guys, which is the biggest takeaway. Check your Geforce experience settings for the games. You might be launching that game with settings not right for you at all and you are having poor experience. You want to double check that first, check it first. And second of all, yeah, just enjoy. Literally just select the correct resolution, play and tweak your settings, and life is going to be good. But at the same time, you know, nice to have it. And probably we will have a little bit more videos of Wildlands coming your way once I learn how to shoot, because there's no collision effect there. Oh, there you go. So thanks for watching. See you all next time.